Some people are born into love. Others have to learn how to believe that love still belongs to them. Levi was not one of the loved ones. He was tolerated at best, despised at worst, and most days invisible. But on one ordinary morning, a single voice changed everything. Levi sat at his tax booth like he did every day. Coins, scrolls, cold stares. People passed by him as if he were not even human. Children were pulled away, eyes were turned aside, whispers followed him. Tax collectors were not just unpopular, they were considered traitors. They worked for Rome, they took money from their own people. They were seen as greedy, corrupt, and morally filthy, and Levi knew it. He felt it every time someone refused to meet his eyes. Over time, that kind of rejection becomes part of you. It teaches you how to sit quietly in your shame. Jesus was walking along the sea when he saw Levi. Not glanced, not noticed, saw. There is a difference. Jesus saw the man behind the label. He did not see a sinner first. He saw a heart. So he stopped, right in front of the booth, and in a voice that carried no judgment, no hesitation, no fear, he said two simple words: "Follow me." That was all. No lecture, no warning, no conditions, just an invitation. Levi did not ask why. He did not say, "Don't you know who I am?" He stood up. He left everything behind. The coins, the security, the booth that had defined his life. And he followed, because something in Jesus' voice felt like home. Later that day, Levi opened his house. Not for polite company, not for religious people, for the ones like him, tax collectors, sinners, the broken and the unwanted, and Jesus went with him. He sat at the table, he ate with them, he laughed with them, and the religious leaders were horrified. Why does he eat with sinners? And Jesus answered with words that still echo through history. It is not the healthy who need a doctor, but the sick. I have not come to call the righteous, but sinners. Levi did not become holy before Jesus called him. He was still sitting in the tax booth, still hated, still compromised, still surrounded by the evidence of a life he was not proud of. And yet Jesus stopped. That is what should shake us, because God does not wait for perfection before he steps into our story. He steps into the middle of it, right into the mess, right into the chapter we wish we could tear out. We spend so much of our lives trying to make ourselves presentable for God. I'll pray when I stop failing. I'll come back when I feel worthy. I'll change first. Then I'll let him in. But Jesus does not knock on the door of the healed. He walks into the rooms of the broken. And he sits down. Levi was not looking for God. He was surviving. Collecting money, counting coins, building a wall of wealth to protect his wounded heart. And Jesus did not ask him why. He simply asked him to follow. This is important, because God does not define us by our worst chapter. He defines us by the future he sees. Levi had spent years being called a sinner. Jesus called him a disciple. One word changed his destiny. When Levi stood up, he left more than a table. He left a story about himself. I am a traitor. I am greedy. I am beyond forgiveness. Jesus offered him a new one. You are mine. And then something beautiful happened. Levi invited Jesus into his world, into his home, into his friendships, into the very circle that everyone else rejected. And Jesus sat with sinners, not to approve their sin, but to love them out of it. The Pharisees did not understand this. They believed holiness meant separation. Jesus showed that holiness means proximity, being close enough for grace to touch. My doctor does not go to the healthy, Jesus said, but to the sick. And in that moment, he revealed something about the heart of God. God is not scandalized by your wounds. He is drawn to them. You do not go to Jesus because you are healed. You go to be healed. Think about this. Levi never asked to be called. Jesus simply saw him. In a crowd of people, Jesus noticed the one everyone else despised. And maybe tonight, he sees you, not the version you post, not the version you pretend to be, but the one sitting quietly in shame, the one who thinks, if God knew everything about me, he would walk away. Jesus already knows, and he stayed. We fear being seen, because we think being seen means being rejected. But in God's kingdom, being seen means being chosen. Levi did not clean up his life first. He stood up first. Transformation came later. That is how grace works. It moves before you are ready. And that is what makes it grace. Tonight, maybe you feel like Levi, sitting in a place you never meant to stay, counting the cost of choices you wish you had not made. And Jesus walks by. He does not shout, he does not accuse, he only says, "Follow me." So take a moment now, close your eyes, and imagine him standing in front of you, looking at you, not with disappointment, but with love. And hear him whisper, "You are not your past. You are not your worst mistake. You are not beyond my mercy. Stand up, leave the booth, and walk with him. Amen."